It helps the employers in selection of a right person for a right job. So through this, you select the candidate for a particular job. So let's be familiar with what are the terminologies, or what is exactly the terminology which we need to know when we need to get familiar with this skill. It has two participants in a majority. One is the interviewer. Interviewer is the person who is going to interview, जो interview करने वाला है. Interviewee is the person who is going to appear for the interview. Interviewer may be one or maybe a group of person, which is called panel. So this is how these two persons are evolved into this process of interview. Interviewer may be one or maybe a group. So let me tell you, dear students, interview is not at all a test of your knowledge, but it is a test of your ability, how you can put forth what you have learned in all those years into those 10 to 20 minutes. So this is a test of management, how you manage, how you are able to manage and fathom what you have learned all these years. So let me familiarize you all the topics or the contents which I am going to cover into this lecture. These topics as go: stages of preparation for the interview. Then I shall talk about do's and don'ts of virtual or telephonic information. This is quite of a paramount significance, as we all are traveling through pandemic and we have to be adept in virtual interviews as well. Then I shall take up a practical aspect of how we are actually going to tackle some of the common questions those are frequently asked. So let's continue, dear students. So if I talk about what are the stages of preparation for interview, let me brief you all. Interview is not 1 hour, 20 minutes, or one day's job. It is a perpetual process for which you literally need to start many days ago. I must say it's a lifelong process. So we can segregate this into three fractions. First, what are the activities or things we need to be familiar with before the interview, or what are the remedies those we need to be prepared with before we actually appear for online or face-to-face interview. Then we have what are the things, do's and don'ts, pros and cons, which we need to talk about during the interview, need to be focused about during the interview. Then interview does not end, dear students, with the moment you leave the room. It is a process. It is a continuous process which never ends. So let's continue with the first, before the interview. So what do you really need to prepare for the interview? First, these two of the points listed here: reading newspaper, hone soft skills and mannerism. Dear students, these two topics or points may not be directly related to, but they are of dire importance. If you have a habit of reading newspaper almost every day, this literally gives you an edge. You're aware about what is happening across the globe. You're aware about what are the demands of the market. You're aware about the cross currents of the world at larger and the place where you reside at a macro and micro level both. So reading newspaper is literally of paramount importance for almost everybody, whether you are going to appear for the interview or not. Because many a time while you read newspaper, you come across such good points. If you people are aware, in the English Tribune, every Wednesday, we have jobs and career. In job and career, they talk about so many important aspects of interview almost every week for the past 5 to 6 months. This is not coming, but still it is a integral part of the English newspaper, English Tribune. Then hone soft skills. Soft skills is your whole being, how you portray yourself, how you speak, how you react, how you act, how you utter a particular word, how you, involve yourself into a situation. So these days it is basically said, IQ may not be that important. What is important is EQ, how you handle the emotional situations, how you handle the stressful situations in your life. Because this in this competitive world of 21st century, where you are living in a cutthroat world, जहाँ पे competition बहुत ज़्यादा है, you literally have to stay calm and composed and should be working forward to hone your soft skills and mannerisms, because you might take years to learn all these skills, but you have to exhibit all these skills learned through years in a moment of fractions in the interview, because the interviewer is going to judge you, how you sit, how you speak, the first 30 seconds of the moment you sit on the chair or you switch on the call. Then the next thing you literally have to do, many a time, what do students exactly do, or we people tend to do, we just see an advertisement in the newspaper, or we come across of a job from anyone, we think of applying. Dear students, you better be aware whether their job suits you or not, whether it is equivalent to what you've studied, whether it matches with what you have achieved in your life. That is quite important, that you make a comparative analysis of the job that you're applying to and the qualifications or the skills you hold. Next thing, I must say, it is one of the common points, read and scan your resume. First and foremost, dear student, I should tell you what is the difference between a resume and a CV. Resume is basically about an information piece about you within 1 or 2 pages, whereas curriculum vitae, CV, is the detailed one. It may be extending to 7 to 8 pages. Resume is tailored. Resume को हम job के according, priorities के according थोड़ा change कर सकते हैं. Whereas CV is a detailed one. It is rarely tailored according to the job. One thing I have felt many a time is many of the students do not even know what is written in their CV in the career objectives. If you get your CV or your resume made from a cafe or maybe your elder ones, you rarely read what is written in your career objective. Many a time I've myself come across when I've interviewed people, they are totally point blank to explain what is written in their career objective. So you better be clear what you have written into your CV. One more thing I wish to tell you guys, in your resume, you need to write only those hobbies, one, which are actually your hobbies. Second, they relate to the job that you're applying for. Third, if you write reading, you better be aware what exactly is reading. You must have read at least 10 to 20 books. For the sake of writing, we write reading, whereas many a time you appear for the interview and you go point blank the moment they ask you, what are you reading currently, or what have you read currently. Then there are n number of online sites where you can get the basic questions those are asked, like explain yourself, why do we hire you. So these are some of the basic questions, moot questions, those are asked almost in every interview. Dear students, basically today I am addressing the students, those are going to enter into job sector after graduation, that what kind of situations, what kind of questions are being asked. Otherwise, this topic of interview skills is an inexhaustible. It has n number of potential. You cannot fathom it, scan it the way you wish to. It may be different for some other field, but specifically I am talking about or addressing the students, those are going to appear for an interview after graduation. Research about the organization or the company. This is really important for a person who is going to appear for an interview. You need to have the at least basic knowledge, brief know about the organization where you are going to appear for the interview. You should be knowing what is this company, when was it established, how does it work, what is its web culture, and the social life of that company. You need to be at least aware about what kind of activities they indulge in online. So these days, social media will literally get you a beautiful glimpse into this world about that company. So you better be aware. I'll give you an example. Once one of my friend was going to appear for an interview into a school, and he was to appear for the interview in a school. The name of the school was, if you guys are familiar with Punjabi history and culture, the school, the name of the school was Pai Nagaiya. Then I told him that you better be aware about the history of Pai Nagaiya ji. And the second day when he went for the interview, he was literally asked this question as the first question to begin with, that do you know anything about the title character over which we have named this school? So this is how you need to research and search the organization where you are going to appear for the interview. Practice interviews and mock interview. This is really very crucial. Dear students, before finally appearing for the interview, you need to practice this art before the mirror, before your family members, with your friends, because the more you rehearse, the more comfortable you will become. Greet everyone in the organization. I personally have an experience of this thing. If you are entering into a company for an interview, greet everyone you come across on the way. Somebody on the lift, somebody at the door, somebody at the entrance, anywhere. You never know who may be your interviewer, because he or she does not, judge you within the confines of that room only. He or she may be judging you. How did you react outside? How did you act outside to that organization? So it is really very important. You need to wish almost everybody when you enter an organization for the interview. Just a second. Okay, so next, you be prepared with what you need to carry along you for the interview. These things should be prepared at least 2 to 3 days ago to the interview, such as hard copies of the resume, because you never know what emergency might happen the other day. There may be a lockdown the other day. There may be another kind of problem. Machines may not work. You may not reach on time. So you better be having the copies of your resume before you actually go for the interview. Then notepad, pen, you need to be carrying all these things, because before interview or after interview, you may have to write something important which you might trip later. Documents, those have been requested. You get to have the Xerox copies as well as the original file of all the documents which have been asked. Then another important thing, you need to be having a portfolio containing your work samples. You get to be having with you the work that you have accomplished or the achievements those you have accomplished earlier. You should be having all these things with you, because they are going to give an edge over everyone in the interview when you shall show them the practical, the work that you have actually done in the past. This literally will hone and will surely get you an edge over other. Then, of course, this is quite a common phenomenon. You need to dress professionally and ethically. Semi-formal or formal will suffice the purpose. But of course, there comes a question. It all depends what kind of interview you're going to have. In many organizations, you are also having a coffee interview, date interview, all these things. So you need to dress accordingly. Dress should be decent. That's what is required. Arrive well in time. Everybody knows you need to arrive at least 20 to 30 minutes before the interview is supposed to begin, because you will get ample time to relax and compose yourself. There may be certain kinds of, pending works for you to accomplish, like you did not support a document which is supposed to be submitted at the time of interview, document verification. So they may be there. Eat light and healthy. You should not stuff yourself with, as we Punjabis are so fond of paranthas and all these things. We need to budge off. We need to avoid, because if you literally have a heavy meal in the morning or before the interview, you may not give your potential in the interview. Sound sleep. I know many of you, everybody rather, how so seasoned scholar you may be, but still those butterflies flutter into your stomach before every kind of interview. So you need to have a sound sleep to give your 100% in the interview. So these were some of the things which you were supposed to handle, supposed to do before the interview actually begins or is scheduled. Then let's fathom or scan what are the things you need to be aware about when you are actually in the scene, when you are in the lights, camera, and action mode. First impression, as I've already told you, the first 30 seconds is enough for them to judge you, how smart you are, how professionally ethical you are, how much trained you are, how much confident you are. So your posture, your body language, your speech, tone, pitch, everything needs to be perfect. Facial expressions, don't smile too much. You may, present yourself stupid. Don't have frowns on your face. This should not be like. Don't be nervous. Be relaxed, calm, composed. Even if you're nervous, try to stay composed. Body language should not be too loose, should not be too contracted. ऐसे भी नहीं है कि close होके बैठ जाना है. It should not be like too relaxed that you're overconfident. Your body language need to be under your control. If you are into the bad habit of moving your legs, fidgeting your hands, fiddling with your hands, moving things, something like this, you need to have a proper control over this. So you need to train your body accordingly beforehand. Speak clearly. You need not be too loud, too low. You better be in a pitch which may not shriek. You better be clear, precise, succinct, to the point. Everybody must have read Pressy writing. So this is what you are going to present yourself, conveying the maximum in the minimum. Then listen before answering. Many a time it happens, some of the interviewees are overexcited, so excited that they don't even bother to listen the whole question. Many a time you may misinterpret the question if you have not heard it properly, or if you did not allow the interviewer to complete his or her question. So for this, don't be eager to answer the moment interviewer is done with his posing you the question. Give at least 2 to 3 seconds relaxation to the both interviewer and to yourself. Then compose yourself. Then try to answer. Then into that time of 2 to 3 seconds, you will be able to mull over the points. You may be able to plan the things that how you are going to channelize or direct your answer. Give brief, factual, and to the point answers. Don't give abstract answers, abstract ideology, or that you may say that I have done this. Have supporting documents with you if you have done something marvelous or something good. Previous employers, don't say anything negative or bad. Even if you might have literally a bad experience with the previous employer, they might have fired you, there may be salary issues, there may be any other kind of problem, but be positive. You have to present everything in a positive manner. Suppose you have had a problem in adjusting there and you left the job, you can present yourself in a way that the policies changed the passage of the time with the previous company. So probably I thought it's better to move somewhere else. So this is how you can present or jot down your points rather than saying anything negative about the previous employers. Then you be honest. Honesty always pays. If you try to, bluff anything, you try to exaggerate anything, or you try to speak about an accomplishment which you actually did not achieve, जो आपने अचीव भी नहीं किया उसके बारे में बोलने की कोशिश करते हो, then the third question or the fourth question is sure to come, which might literally, pick out the truth behind your statement. Know your resume. This we have already covered. Then see, your interview is like, your resume is like different pearls, and your interview is like that thread. Through that thread, all those pearls will be beaded in a rosary. एक तुसी माला की तरह सारा कुछ परो के उन्हां दे अगे present करना. This is what you need to present. This is how you need to, behave in the interview. Then you better be alert about everything. All about, see, many a time this has come across that many questions in IAS or IPS are asked when you were coming. What did happen to you? How many buttons of your shirt are? How did you do this thing? How many people were sitting outside? So this is, for this, you better be aware about all these things. Don't be reluctant in asking the interviewer to repeat the question. See, it's always good to ask the interviewer to repeat the question if you have not heard it distinctly or properly, because rather than giving a wrong answer, it's always good to repeat. And never get perplexed if you do not know one or two questions, because they have seen it on your resume that you're qualified, you can accomplish these things, you know these things. So don't get perplexed. Mull over the next question and try to give your best, and try to feed up the negative that you had earlier. Keep things at a professional level. This is literally required. Many a time what happens at the end of the interview, you have a gut feeling that probably your chances are, your prospects are pretty good, and the interviewer might be cracking a joke or might be laughing over something, but you mind this thing, you have to remain professional. Even if a joke is cracked, you just need to be laughing in a minimized manner. Then, dear students, let's see what you are supposed to do after the interview is over. Because interview, as I've told you, is not complete the moment you've stepped out. It's a continuum process. So express gratitude towards the interview to have even allowed you to appear for the interview, because through scanning, they take out only limited number of participants out of those have applied. So it's always required, whether your prospects were good, bad, whether you fared well in the interview or didn't fare well in the interview, still you need to be thanking the interviewer in a beautiful, humble and polite manner, because you never know, this interviewer may be a subject expert, or maybe among the panel, maybe an interviewer in your next or another of your interview. Then better be patient, be calm and composed. Then patient about, you need to literally give them time, at least pardon, 2 to 3 days time for them to think over, because there are so many candidates, they might take a time of a week as well. You need to be reminding them, asking them by call or through email after a week or so only, not exactly after 1 or 2 days. Then what is most important is, because there is no one on this planet who can judge you better than yourself, dear students. So you need to assess your interview performance, how badly you fared, what did you lack, where did you speak wrong, what was the point where you could not give what you exactly wanted to. So you need to jot down all those points. Only then you will be able to give your best in the coming interviews. Then, of course, you need to write down anything you want to remember. Many a time, some points of general knowledge, something of value which you need to be needing in the future as well. So you need to jot down all those points. Then, of course, don't give up. You should not be giving up if it has happened that you did not fare well in the interview. No doubt, everybody fails. Failures are the stones over which we can build our success. Then, dear students, with this, I come to the second aspect of my lecture, which is do's and don'ts of online interview. No doubt, online interviews were quite concurrent before COVID as well, but with the rampant effect of COVID-19, many of the organizations are conducting all of their correspondence and enterprise through online mode only. So it is literally vital to know what you need to know about online interview or virtual interview or telephonic conversation, as in the form of an interview, how you're going to present yourself. So let's see, first we will talk about what are the do's. What are the do's though you need to take in your mind when you are going to appear for a virtual or an online interview? The first thing, keep your mobile or phone battery fully charged. It may not happen you are halfway in the interview and you are running for the socket, and God forbid you might not get the socket. Electricity may run off. So please be budge off this thing. Dress properly, of course. Although it is an online interview, still they are, rather you are being more focused through the camera. Even if it is a telephonic conversation where you are not being seen, still you need to wear something comfortable, which may not create discomfort for you to speak. Dress properly, mind your non-verbal communication. Of course, your bust part will be visible through the camera only, so you better have a control over your hand movements, your body movements. No doubt you can gesticulate, you can use gestures in order to communicate your ideas, but don't overdo it. Have a professional background. This is quite pertinent, that you need to have a professional background at the back. There should not be something which might distract the interviewer. There should not be something gaudy or ostentatious. There should be something like, all I would request you or suggest you, always prefer a wall at the back of you so that nobody trespasses that way. Test your audio and video equipments before you actually appear for the interview. You should have tested, you should have mastery over the application over which you are going to appear for the interview. Make an arrangement for sound internet connection. This is required, because if you are in an interview, nobody is going to bother whether you had a bad internet connection. So better be focused about that you're going to have a sound internet connection for the interview. Test out video platform. This is what I was telling you. Better be familiar about the application over which you are going to have an interview. Do have pause after every question. This is rather important in both the interviews, offline and face-to-face mode. You need to be relaxed once the question is posed, then try to answer after a fraction of seconds. Keep your family and your friends informed not to bother you at that particular stretch of time, or keep your phone on airline, off mode or airline mode so that nobody bother you. Send a thank you note. This is really important out of soft skills, that you be sending thank note to all the persons those who are involved in an interview. Then, dear students, let's see what are the don'ts, or which are the things we better be cautious while we appear for an online or a virtual interview. Don't take the call in a loud setting. If you are having a phone call, sit or be in a corner where there is nobody to bother you. There is no noise, there is no botheration. Don't move the camera too much. If you keep on moving the camera here, there, and anywhere, sometime your neck is visible, sometime your hand is visible, sometime your face is visible, sometime only your head is visible. This literally creates a bad impact on the interviewer. He thinks that you're not serious. Don't let anyone else in the spotlight. You are the hero of that segment. So be yourself. Don't let everybody trample into your space. Don't turn off your video. This see, many a time, many of you, rather everyone is quite comfortable seeing yourself onto the screen. So practice this thing beforehand, that you be comfortable while seeing yourself as well as the interviewer. Many a time it might happen with the female gender that they might not be comfortable if they are being interviewed by an interviewer who's a male, and of course they may be afraid of male gaze or something like this. So you better be clear about all these things, better be focused, and organize yourself in this way. Then don't, this is quite important, dear students. Whenever we are having online classes as well, we keep on telling our students, don't use unprofessional names out of panache, out of, say, to be devil may care kind of attitude. We tend to have such names as devil bothers, Saturn, innocent, cute, or something like this. Please have a professional name which is there in your resume. Don't wear or keep anything around you to distract the interviewers. Many a time we don't bother, पीछे कोई scenery लगी हुई है, there is something around you, there may be a bottle, there may be something which is not gelling well with the background. So you should remove it first, because it will distract you as well as the interviewer. Don't move about lot in a chair. You may be feeling uncomfortable sitting for a long time, but still try to maintain the posture. You may move bit, but you should not be, scurrying around into the chair. Fiddle with the camera. This is, I've already told you, you should not be fiddling ki camera ko idhar kar rahe ho, setting kar rahe ho. So you should have, if you are appearing for an interview through mobile phone, so you should keep your mobile phone at a place so that you are focused up till your bust. Aapka upper part clear aa raha hai. You're visible properly in the camera. Don't use the computer for reference. One important thing, suppose you are having a video call and you are told to write something, or you need to note something. Don't start noting it down or writing it down on your screen on another of the tab. Write it on somewhere on a page or paper which is around you, not at the screen, because this will literally create a bad impact on the interviewer. So this is how, dear students, now we are done with the theoretical aspect of this thing, how to master interview skills. Now I am going to give you guys some of the practical exposure, that there are some of the staple questions. These are some basic questions. One or two of them happen to be asked almost in every interview, whether it is offline face-to-face, whether it is online interview. So I am going to give you a brief idea that how you are going to speak or answer that question, and what you are going to speak into that particular question. So let's begin. First question is, introduce yourself. Dear students, many a time people tend to take the first two questions synonymous. They are not same at all. The first question, which is introduce yourself, it is a closed question. Closed question वो होता है जिसमें आपने information एक point पे जाके बंद कर देनी कि इसके आगे कुछ नहीं हो सकता. So introduce yourself is basically about who you are. Where are you employed currently? If you are not employed currently, you may have completed your studies, or you might have had a sabbatical, means आपने काम छोड़ा हुआ है किसी reason के, maybe your family planning, maybe some health issue in the family, your health issue, medical grounds. So when you are about to introduce yourself, never say myself. Always begin with I am so and so, I am so and so. This is how you're going to, or my name is. Never begin with myself. Don't begin with reflexive. Tell us about yourself. This question is basically your opportunity to tell them what is worth telling. ये question इसलिए पूछा जाता है कि आप उनको क्या बता सकते हो कि जिससे वो impress हो जाएं to hire you. Whereas introduce is kind of an icebreaker. It's basically to initiate the conversation. It's basically to give you a comfortable situation so that you may feel comfortable and you start speaking. Tell us about yourself, maybe about your work, maybe about your recent accomplishments, maybe about your previous assignments, maybe about your previous work, maybe about the job that you have had earlier. All these things you will tell us about yourself. You can also begin like this. I am so and so, recently employed in this and this company. I have come across, I am working on this post, and I have come across such assignments over which I have literally accomplished with success, and I have been given a bonus or something like this. You can begin. Why should we hire you? This is actually a question which is, I must say, as like holding sand in holding water into your clasp. Why should we hire you is, first you need to know the work culture, the information about the company, how do they work, what is their work culture, what is their rapport into the society. According to that, you should tailor your accomplishments. आपकी जो accomplishments है उसको लेके, जो company का background है उसको लेके, and more than that, the post for which you are appearing, जिस post के लिए appear कर रहे हो interview के, उस पोस्ट की रिक्वायरमेंट तीनों चीजों को जेल करके then you are going to speak that, okay, so don't you should simply say you should hire me because I'm qualified. It's stupid to answer. You need to impress them. Simply कहना तो यही है कि आपको हायर कर लें, बट थ्रू इन अ सर्कमलोक्यूशन वे, मेरी गो राउंड वे में किसी और तरीके से ये चीज कहनी है. You can start like this. It's a nice question. So I have, this qualification, I have this, I have accomplished these assignments, I've completed these projects which have benefited me in the previous, I have learned these soft skills. I think I can invest those soft skills into your company over this post and shall surely bring blooms to the company and to myself both. Then, which is your greatest weakness and strength? Dear students, strength बहुत कम पूछी जाती है. It's always weakness which is asked. You should be honest about your weakness. There are two ways of answering this question. One, if you are being honest कि आपकी weakness क्या है. Suppose you are bad at management, you are bad at time and management. So if you are going to be, honest कि मैंने सच ही बोलना है कि हाँ इस चीज पे मैं बुरा हूँ, present it in such a way that yes, in my college days, I was pretty bad at managing things, but when I had joined an enterprise, I had learned this art and I have given myself a task to assert myself, to restrict and strain myself to be managed by the time. And here I am. These are the list of tasks those I have accomplished in a particular time. You might be using an example as well. Suppose 2 years ago, I was posted at this post. I was having this project to accomplish within 4 days, whereas the persons to which we were supposed to, the persons, those who were associated with that project, they rather asked for that project within 2 days only, although the stipulated time was 4 days. Because you were doing the thing in advance, so you were able to accomplish that within 2 days only. For this, you have also been uploaded by your company, this, and you have also been given a raise. Then strength, it's easy to answer, but dear students, master this thing, strength or weakness. You need to gel it. आपने जो आपकी पोस्ट है या आपका जो डेजिग्नेशन जिसके लिए आप इंटरव्यू दे रहे हो, उसकी जो रिक्वायरमेंट है, उन दोनों को इकट्ठा करके प्रेजेंट करना है कि वो सोचें कि yes, this is his weakness, he has covered it up, and he is surely going to prove fruitful for our company. And if it is his strength, then it is surely going to help our company grow further. Where do you see yourself in next 5 years? Dear students, this question is not at all asked for you to know your future goals. वो आपके future goals पूछने के लिए तो ये question जरा भी नहीं पूछते. This question is basically asked whether you are going to stay in the company or not, whether you are leaving the second day, because hiring somebody is literally a huge investment. So if you're running the next day, they might have wasted much of their money and other time resources as well. So if they ask, where do you see yourself in next 5 years? Then of course you are going to present the things in a way that yes, if I get selected on this post, I shall achieve this. and would work in such an efficient manner that I'll be given a raise to this higher position. Or it's my dream that I want to take the company that I'm going to join from this level to this with my little contribution, which may be vital for the company. Why do you want to leave your present job? So as I've earlier conveyed as well, you might have had a bad experience with your present job, but you are going to present it in a positive way. Then if you are trying to be honest a little, say you've been fired or you were on a leave because of any reason, health issue or any other reason, or there might be salary issue, something like this, but you are going to present, you're going to say, I had been working over this post into that company, but the circumstances don't allow me. I have learned these skills, those skills I can invest here and can surely help you mushroom better into the competitive world. What are your salary expectations? Salary expectation, never give that answer in figures. Two things: if you're applying for a post, search it online that what is the scale or what is the prospect salary for that particular post. Then you can give them a range, or second, you can say, okay, thank you, first I would want you to tell me that what kind of responsibilities does this post hold. जो पोस्ट के लिए आप मेरे को सिलेक्ट कर रहे हो उसकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी जिम्मेदारियां क्या है. According to that, the salary will be as considering your norms, and you may be considerate enough that all my expenses be covered into that. We can consider or consolidate the salary that way. Then why do you want to work with this company? Then of course, this question is indirectly covered in the previous questions. You need to search the background of the company, then your skills, then gel those skills, दोनों skills को इकट्ठा करके present them, a gamut of the same, that yes, I have these skills which I have learned all these years, and of course the work culture of this company allows me to work like a free bird and to reach a pinnacle of glory. Then why do you want this job? The answer of both the questions is almost the same. Never be desperate. Although you may be desperate about a job, आपको job चाहिए, but never be desperate. Present as if it may not happen that you are desperate for this job. Present yourself in a composed way. Then this question is usually asked, why was there a gap in your employment? Gap could be for many reasons, because of say a dispute within the previous company, family reasons, or any other reasons. You need to present that gap in a positive way. You may have learned a skill into that stipulated time. You might have had certain kind of responsibilities. Now you can say, I'm free from those responsibilities. They won't entail me anymore or restrict my growth into this company. So anything you are going to tell in an interview, never say anything negative. Negative is a word which literally creates negative aura around you. How would you deal with pressure or stressful situations? They might giving you a situation to react, or they might simply ask you a question. This question needs to be tackled by giving a practical example, a work or a task, assignment or project that you have accomplished under stress. If you remember, I have just given an example, where the task was supposed to be completed within 4 days, but it was rescheduled to be completed within 2 days. This is how you can, raise your collar by, narrating this incident with proper, structuring of the sentences. Then, dear students, many a time you enter into a job, enter into an interview where you are told to sell an object, or maybe in a marketing job. Then you need to mull over that point, take 1 or 2 seconds to think over that how best I can sell this product. First, tell the properties of that product, features. Then even if there is something negative about that thing, present it in such a positive way that they may be forced to buy it from you. Don't be hesitant, don't be reluctant. If you wish to treat the interviewer as a customer, be free, be confident, have panache. Have got then at last you are have you got any question? They might ask you, do you anything? Don't go blank. Don't be mum over this thing. Prepare yourself well. Always keep one question. This question may be like that you may be like saying that what are the responsibilities this job or this position entail, or how much time should I should it be taking for the intimation, or how much time would I get if I get selected to join, or anything like this. Such questions may be ready with the questions. Don't go all blank. So dear students, I would like to sum up this whole discussion with a beautiful quotation by Jason Winsick. Never be nervous when given the opportunity to market your skills and talent. It's the only time people are genuinely interested in hearing you talk about yourself. So this is what I have already told you. Dear, it's the moment of lights, camera, and action. Act your way. Impress them so that they may hire you at any cost. Thank you. I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Neena Seth Pajni, Principal, Gobindgarh Public College, Alour, Khanna, Coordinator, IQAC College, Professor Narinder Pal Singh, Deputy Coordinator, Professor Varinder Kumar, and my dear colleagues and lovely students that you have spared time to have listened me with so much of patience. I must applaud you all. Thank you once again. Over to you, Narinder sir. If there is any question, we will take it.
So, a very informative session by Professor Sunil. And about the interview so far, I have also attended. He has covered every question in this one. In this presentation, it might be asked. And more or less, that these are certain questions which are, they try to judge you that whether you are a job hopper or not. Job hopper is a term that is used that you frequently jump to the jobs. Okay, so for a good employee, the minimum period that you will invest in a company, that is a 5 years. Yeah, the companies have minimum 5 years for रहेंगे then it is up to you that still you have got, yeah, or you have left things to still that might be added to your growth, and there are many factors. So you keep on working in a company. So, but still, I want to ask you one question, although it is covered, but I want to think that Professor might add something to this. That is how to treat interview phobia, because when it is a kind of phobia when given, those who are habitual to present themselves publicly, they also have a kind of phobia that you know जो आप प्रेजेंट करने जा रहे हो वहाँ पे कई बार एकदम से सारा ब्लशअप हो जाता है हाउ टू ओवरकम दैट कुछ बातें जैसे कवर की हैं दैट माइट बी समथिंग लाइक दिस माइट प्रेजेंट लाइक दिस ऑल द थिंग्स मस्ट बी देयर व्हाट एल्स
Okay, sir. See, if I might say a person of a seasoned scholar is not afraid, I would be lying, because everybody has this thing. Even I'll to be very frank with you, today when I was supposed to speak up for this lecture, I was having little bit of butterflies perching into my heart. So it may be any situation when you are in the limelight, you maybe have little sort of phobia, but still there are some of the psychological tools, some of the psychological exercises through which you can cover up your phobia, your fears to an extent. I don't say you will, say badas, or that yes, any interview might be and I am going to rock. No, it may never happen. There are some of the psychological exercises. There are some of the, activities you can relax yourself, then if you are a believer of a God, say apart in nature, then you can recite anything which may soothe or relax you before the interview. Then next thing, practice makes a man, a woman, I must say, perfect. So keeps on practicing. Every day you stand in front of in front of the mirror and speak to yourself. When you keep on speaking, the day will come when you have less of fear what you had earlier. I think this is what I could share with you, or probably Narendra sir, I'll share some of the activities through which students or any person or any interviewee can mitigate his phobia about interview.
One more question. One more question. And after that, you can ask me that. There may happen when we appear in interview due to some kind of, you can say, skill that is not matching, or you lack some skills. The interviewer, you came to know that the interview is finished and not going to be selected. This is clear. Sometimes the situation comes in front of us that on the chair we are sitting, we are judged that I am not going to be selected. Then how you can try to plan that game into yourself?
Okay. See, sir, there are two things. If you are in an interview, you've got to know first, this is what I have told you, that you need to see before applying that whether you're suitable for the post or not. One thing. Second, if you've still ventured into such an interview where you have found it out from the interviewer that you are not going to be selected, one thing, you can mull over the skills those you probably think may be little bit of relevance to what they are asking. Next, if you have found it deem that yes, you are not going to be selected, then probably I think you should not lose heart and have a brave heart and appear for the next, which tailors your communication or your skills which you actually have.
Okay, dear students, please switch on your cameras. We will have photograph with you. Please switch on your camera. So, any question?
Excuse me, sir.
Okay, so
I have a
I could
question.
see, yes ma'am, please continue.
Sir, how could one answer a question that's been asked in an interview as a how can you prioritize your work? How would we answer that question?
See, you can again, for that question, you can, give your previous job examples that I had
So
this emergency
if
in my,
if I'm a,
yes,
if I'm applying for the very first time, like after my
okay.
bachelor's or my master's, how would I answer that question?
See, if you are applying for the first time after graduation, you can present yourself in such a way that it shall be exhibited from your demeanor that yes, you will be prioritizing work, then you need to impress them in a way that yes, you are serious about the interview that you are appearing for. Next, you should be presenting yourself or your presentation, or you may be giving them certain kinds of example. See, I am not talking about work here related to your previous jobs. Work could be completing your assignments as a student, focused about your exams, focused about a game, focused about any other assignment. See, it's not about work. Work is anything, is everything and anything is a work in which you are involved. So any example you can take it, which may be seeming professional and ethical, you can use that example and present it in a way which should surely exhibit that yes, you prioritize work over other things.
Uh,
I hope it
Definitely.
suffice what you exactly wanted to ask.
Yes, sir, a bit. I still have a question.
Yes, please continue.
How do we actually ourselves in a positive manner if we are having so much of negative about the question?
Negative about the question, like this question, the
Yeah,
one you had asked, or any other question that you are negative
because
about?
because I don't have any experience. I don't know how to prioritize things. I treat everything equally. So like I have to manage between my family and my work. How could I actually prioritize something?
See, Lakshita, I think who is speaking? If
Lakshita.
I'm not able to. Okay, yes, Lakshita. I would like to take an example from your life only. See, you might have had some emergency in your home during your vacations as well. It might have happened one or the other time of your, but you
Yes, sir.
had given priority to your papers. So this is what you can exhibit. Don't go careless about your personal things कि मैंने totally छोड़ दी अपनी family. Be in present the things in such a way that it may seem that you have a blended approach for the both, but still you prioritized your paper, over your family or issues as well. So this is what I am trying to say, that take example from your life. See, you start learning prioritizing things from say when you are four or rather three, because even a child is prioritized. If he wishes to see cartoons, he will leave everything. He will leave even the most vital food that he needs. He will leave it for the work. So work may be any, it all depends on you how you are going to present it. So it's all about the presentation of the skill. Work on your speaking skills, your working towards bringing positivity into your ideologies, and work on your soft skills. I think surely you're gonna mushroom.
Thank you so much, sir. You cleared my doubt.
Oh,
Thank you.
There is
okay,
one question in chat box,
okay.
that is, sometimes the interview tells us to mention about one thing which is not mentioned in our CV. What could be complete answer? Okay.
Okay. See, if you were employed earlier, we usually simply write that I was working in this and this company. I was employed here at this and this post. You can tell them something laudable, something remarkable you have achieved earlier, which may have a bearing on the present job for which you are presenting yourself as a candidate. If you were not at all employed, you're a fresher. See, for the first, I'll give you my own example. When I had appeared after my master's for the first time, the interview, I had made them listen me that yes, freshers do have something potential to exhibit, to speak up, to portray. So next thing, even if you had been a student, you might have done something, say diploma in computer, you might have done something, say on communication skills, which might be suitable for the job for which you are applying. So you can say, yes, I have achieved this thing, and probably it is going to tailor my job for which I am appearing.
And one last question which
Sure, sir.
comes, and just kind of question is there. going to definitely confuse. So, suppose, sir, during the interview, maybe sir, willingly or unwillingly, interviewer has asked us a very personal question that might that we might not be expect, we not expect to be asked, and you are disturbed, and your anger is blowing after listening that question. How to deal with that?
See, sir, I would give you an example. Everybody of us might have talked to the customer cares. How abusive we go, how rude we go, how outspoken we go. They remain calm, composed. There are two ways of answering that question. One, जिस तरह ਦਾ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ question ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ, you need to retain your anger. One. Second, you may, if it is too personal a question, you may mold its answer. One. Second, if you think it cannot be answered, you may say it bluntly. They may understand it that yes, I think this is too personal a question, I prefer not to answer it as well, and they might be considerate as well about this thing. And if many a time female are about such questions about family planning and all those questions, so they can prefer to answer. See, if you are applying for for a job, you have certain kinds of limitations or restrictions for yourself only. If that question pertains to the discipline that you have retained for yourself, कि मैंने पहले ये करना है, ये करना है, then it's fine. If it is too abusive a question which might abuse your psychology or your emotion, then you can outrightly deny to answer. Probably, I think, and I would do this if I am asked or confronted with such a question.
So, any more questions from audience? Any more questions from audience? With that, we are going to end this session right now here. Thank you all. Thank you very much to be with us.
Thanks a lot, everyone. All smiles to you.